Hello everyone, welcome to our Agriculture and the Environment Lab. My name is Okimo Duki. We will be looking at preparing our planting materials. At the end of this lesson, students, you will be able to identify planting materials used in container gardens, prepare planting materials for planting, use a container garden to sow seed for seedling production, and identify the conditions necessary for seed germination. The tiny seed knew that in order to grow, it needed to be dropped in soil, covered in darkness, and struggled to reach the light. So, don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds that you plant. Robert Stevenson. Let us now look at some of our common planting materials. Our yams, rhizomes, suckers, vine cuttings, stem cuttings, our seeds and seedlings. All right, so let us look at this activity. First one, list all plants that you can think about that can be grown in a container. 2, identify the part of the plant that can be planted to produce a new plant. Ready with your answers? Okay. So let us look at some of our planting materials. Let us look at our yam and ginger. With our yam, we normally plant the head of the yam. This is our renta yam head. This is one of our most common yams planted in Jamaica. If you notice, this is one of our buds being developed. This means that this is ready to be planted. Further down, we will show you how to plant this yam in one of our containers. Let us now look at our ginger. Now this is a ginger plant that has been planted. We took a piece of the ginger with eyes or buds and we planted it into a soil. Normally, the ginger is planted horizontally so that you can have many plants from the ginger. Now look at the development of this ginger plant. Eventually, this will develop into a nice big plant with loads of ginger underneath. Banana suckers are used to grow new plants. Banana are easily grown. However, it is unusual to grow banana plant in a container. However, boys and girls, it is still very possible. Now this is a banana sucker. It has the eyes that we call, it has the buds that are ready, and this is ready to be planted. With the sweet potato, we normally plant what we call the vines or the slips. Now this is a sweet potato plant that is ready to be planted. This grows very well in containers. Normally, the potato cuttings are 6 to 12 inches long. Remember now, boys and girls, that we don't only grow in containers for food, we also grow for recreation, aesthetics, we also grow for medicinal purposes. Now let us look at 2 of our plants that are not grown for food. These now, we use our stem cuttings to grow our plants. So we have our croton that we either use our stem to propagate or we do circumposing to get our new plant. Circumposing is the process of using a portion of the stem to to create roots. So normally you will see your parents using bags or foil paper to wrap soil around the stem of a plant. Normally what will happen is that roots will then start to develop, then it's time to plant your new plant. Now this started as a stem. We also have our mint that they use for tea. In Jamaica we use it for medicinal purposes, and we also use our ginger for tea and medicinal purposes. So apart from your ornamentals and for medicine, we also have our food that we can do our stem cutting. One perfect ideal example is our callaloo. Once the plant is mature, you can cut off a part of the callaloo plant and you can just stick it into a container. Then let us look at our seeds. These may be sowed directly into a container, or it can be placed in a seed tray or a seed box. Ideally, carrots and okra are the best plants to sow directly into our containers. Now, let us look at our seedling preparations. Seeds are placed in a container and provided with the right condition for germination. Now, boys and girls, these conditions are water, the correct temperature range, and oxygen. Containers used are normally sufficient for root growth. Example, our egg tray, our seed trays, our plastic cups, or our drink boxes. Seedlings are ready to be placed in their final home when, 1, the true leaves have developed, meaning the leaves that you can use to identify the plant. And when the roots are fully wrapped around the soil, that is normally the best time to transplant your seedlings. Before you plant, ensure your seedlings are hardened off, meaning you gradually move them from the environment they were in before into their new environment. Also, ensure that the seedlings are healthy and they are free from pests and disease. Because what you want good, healthy, strong plants. So welcome to our gardening lab. Remember, boys and girls, anywhere you operate from is your lab. So what we'll be looking at now is actually preparing our seedlings. So the first thing we're going to do is ensure that we have our containers. So again, we have our egg trays. I'm sure that almost everybody would have egg trays at home. We have our seed trays. These can be purchased at any local farm store in your community. We have our plastic cups that can be used. We also have our poly bags and our containers. Now all of these can be used to prepare our seedlings. We have to ensure that our containers are clean and they are free from pests and diseases. So normally you will try to wash them up, put them in some heat environment. So you can just put them in the sun for a couple of hours. That will help to treat our containers. Now once we know that our containers are clean and free from pests, we will now go ahead and start our preparation. Let us look at starting with our egg tray and our seed tray. Now we will take some soil, our potting mix, and we will place it inside our seed tray. What we'll normally do is try to put it about 3/4 way up. And remember, don't be afraid just to try. Don't be afraid just to be dirty. So this is a little bit more than 3/4, but this is fine. This is okay. If you notice, our potting mix, our soil mix is very loose and it is free from major debris and so on. we have our egg tray. It's a similar process for the egg trays. You notice what with the egg trays you have cells, and each cell would represent one plant. Remember, don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. Okay, so we will try to get it a little bit more even. And any excess you can remove and place back into your bags. Now remember, in the last class we spoke about how your medium should look like. In this case, you notice that it is loose, meaning that you won't have a lot of water being logged in there. Also, it is dark in color, meaning it's normally a good indication that it is good in nutrients. Because it is loose, you will need to constantly water it. Ensure, however, though, that you don't overwater it because the seeds will rot. Now, what we will be doing, we'll be gently moistening the soil. So I have a spray bottle here that I use. You can use any spray bottle. Normally what you don't want is for the heavy watering of the plants. Gently moisten the soil. Any spray bottle that you have at home, any spray bottle, old spray bottle, new spray bottle, you can use it to moisten the soil. So a common way to plant our seeds is to use your index finger and create an indent into the soil. So we have our watermelon. Our watermelon can be propagated in our seed trays, our egg trays, our cups, and our container. Now, we will take our seeds, use our index finger to create an indent into the soil. Then we place 1 to 2 seeds. The reason is not all seeds will germinate. So what you are doing, you're increasing the probability of each cell having a new plant. So we'll place 1, 2 seeds in there. Then we will cover the seeds. So our seeds are covered. What do you think we need to do next? Well, what we need to do is go again and moisten our soil. So our soil is now properly moistened. We will then move to place our seed tray in a cool, shaded environment. Now, why do you think that it needs to be in a cool environment? Think about it. Why? Well, it is important that the area you place it in is cool so that you reduce the amount of moisture leaving the soil. Also, seedlings do well under comfortable environment. Therefore, you don't want to put the seedlings under too much harsh condition and stress them out very early. So ensure that it is placed in a cool environment. Some people will use shade cloth or even the coconut leaves. They will put it over the seed trays to give it the right amount of shade. Okay, let us look at now what is at your home. Now, students, you will have your tomato, your sweet pepper at home. From this one sweet pepper fruit, we can have multiple plants. And from those multiple plants, we can have many more fruits. So, ask your mom, ask your dad for 1 or 2 of the tomatoes, the sweet pepper, or your pepper to start your garden. The older it is better for you. Inside of these fruits are seeds, so you can cut them open. What do you see, students? Seeds. Now, each of these seeds will then produce a new plant. So what you can do is take this tomato and put it down, allow it to rot, and then allow the seeds to dry down a little. So boys and girls, you don't have to go to the store to buy fancy packs of seeds. All you need is to have 1 or 2 of the fruits at home. Let me put my tomato here. It's the same thing for your hot pepper. Now be careful when you're handling the hot pepper. Remember, it is hot. What I encourage you to do is use gloves or wash your hands thoroughly after use. So let us open this hot pepper. So if you notice, I'll open this hot pepper. What do you see? Many seeds. Now these seeds can also be used to produce new plants. So you can take your hot pepper, allow it to rot, allow the seeds to dry down a little, and place it in your seed trays, your egg trays, or any of your containers. Now it gets exciting. We're going to use our fruit, our sweet pepper fruit, as a container for sweet pepper seedling production. Now what we're going to do is to cut our sweet pepper in half. Now what do you see here? You see seeds, right? Excited, right? Now we're going to just use the knife to ensure that we have a good container here. So what we can do with our knife is just take off some of the seeds, or you can use your hand, just take off some of the seeds, allow it to fall inside. You can leave some on it, and then take your soil mix and place it into your sweet pepper fruit. Now, so this is a way of using the actual fruit as a container. Now remember, once you have done that, you need to go and moisten your soil. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing, boys and girls? In another couple of weeks, we will now have our sweet pepper seedlings ready for transplanting. Remember, boys and girls, to ensure that daily you water your seedlings. Let us look at using our cups. We can use our cups. Normally use a container like this for plants that will eventually grow large. For example, your sorrel or your tomatoes. Because what you really want is for large root development and large shoot development before transplanting. It can also be used for your callaloo. We have our callaloo seeds here. We can also use our hot pepper. So we can take hot pepper seeds. We can place 2 or 3 hot pepper seeds inside cover it. As I said to you before, once you make an indent with your index finger, it should be good enough. You don't want to plant your seeds too deep, as it will not get enough moisture and it will struggle to germinate. Germination is the process by which your roots and your shoots start to develop, meaning your roots start to grow down and your leaves start to develop. Remember, that is what you're looking for when you are preparing your seedlings. You're looking for roots and you're looking for leaves. Remember, importantly though, that before transplanting, you need to have the true leaves being developed, and you need some form of root wrapping around the soil so that it is easy to remove the seedlings and place it into the container. At the end of your seedling preparation, it is important that you clean your area up. Right, so we will then remove our seed trays, our containers, and we'll put it in our shaded area. According to Janet Phillips, there are no gardening mistakes, only experiments. So be free to experiment, try new things, feel free to fail, and come again. Until next time, prepare your containers as we'll be planting our seeds, our seedlings, our cuttings, and our suckers. Remember, prepare, prepare, prepare. See you soon.